Today we're going to delve deep into a topic that affects many of us but very few understand: emotional eating. We'll discuss the common triggers of emotional eating and how different emotions are linked to certain foods. I'll also share with you strategies that can help you overcome this bad habit. But first we have to answer the question, what is emotional eating? In simple terms, this is eating to take care of your emotions instead of eating to nourish your body. If you've ever eaten because of stress, because of comfort, or as a reward, that was emotional eating. And it's very important for you to learn to differentiate between emotional and physical hunger. Emotional hunger is sudden and you're craving a specific food. It could be ice cream, pizza, a piece of cake. With physical hunger, it's gradual and any food can fix it. Learning to differentiate these two will go a long way in helping you break this habit. Now, let's look into the 4 most common triggers. And the first and most common trigger is stress. A client recently told me that she has to eat something sweet after a stressful meeting to feel better. Now, this begs the question, why do we eat when we are feeling stressed? And the research tells us it's because of a hormone called cortisol. When we are stressed, the body releases cortisol. This hormone increases appetite and cravings. Not just for any foods, but for junk food, for sweet foods, and for fatty foods. So once you learn this, you find other ways of dealing with the stress other than eating. And we're going to discuss that later. The second trigger is loneliness and feelings of emptiness. When many of us are feeling lonely or feeling empty, we want to fill that void with the food. But that is not the right approach, because that is only going to make things worse in future and it's going to make you feel guilty. Now you might think, since loneliness is a problem, why don't I become social and that is going to fix my emotional eating? Not so fast, because the third trigger is social influence. We can all agree that eating is a social event. We eat with family members, with friends. Now, being around people can also trigger feelings and emotions that may make us want to indulge in junk food. The other way that being social can lead to emotional eating is by the influence that you get from others. Let's say you go out for dinner with friends and they all order junk food. They might pressure you to do the same, or you might feel pressured to do the same. So because of that, it's important that when you're in social situations, you stay strong and say, I'm not going to fall for any pressure. And if you realize that certain people are triggering certain feelings, you can either avoid them in future or find ways of dealing with those feelings other than using food. The final trigger is number 4, negative self-esteem. For those who struggle with negative self-esteem, food can feel like the best friend. There is no judgment, there are no expectations. You eat and you instantly feel better. But like I said, this is only a temporary solution. You have to find better ways of dealing with this. Now we're going to get into the interesting part of looking how certain emotions are linked to certain foods. And the first emotion we'll look into is, so here we are talking about emotions plus foods. So let's say an emotion like sadness. When most people feel sad, they crave sweet foods because these sweet foods are going to make them feel better. When you eat sweet foods, your brain releases a feel-good hormone, dopamine, and that instantly makes you feel better and you stop feeling sad for a while. So these are foods like ice cream, chocolate, and other sweet foods. So think of any sweet food. Then secondly, we have anxiety. When we are feeling anxious, we crave salty and crunchy foods. We are talking about crisps or chips, popcorn, anything crunchy, biscuits. And the benefit doesn't just come from these foods, but the act of chewing crunchy foods has been shown to help ease anxiety. Then the third emotion here is happiness. If you are thinking that only bad or sad emotions cause emotional eating, you are wrong. Even happiness makes us want to eat certain foods. And what is the most common food that we go for when we are feeling good and happy? This is cake. Celebrations, right? Graduation, weddings, you'll find that there is cake. We say to ourselves, I'm feeling amazing, but I want to feel better, so let me eat something sweet. So these are the three main emotions and the foods that they are linked to. If you notice a pattern in your emotions that when you're feeling sad, you're eating a certain food, that gives you power and gives you awareness on how to overcome this challenge. And now we're going to look into the three main strategies that you can use to overcome emotional eating. So overcoming emotional eating. The first strategy, which you probably heard before, is mindfulness and awareness. Being mindful, being aware of your feelings is very important, and staying present in the moment. Because when you're present, when you're not distracted, you can realize, oh, this time I'm not eating because I'm hungry. I'm eating to feed an emotion. And when you catch yourself in that period, you can now employ the second strategy. And the second strategy is finding healthy outlets. If you've been using food as an outlet, there are better ways of dealing with stress, anxiety, sadness. And one of the methods that has been proven to work for almost any sad or negative emotion is exercise. If you can go for a walk, a run, a swim, cycling, it can help. Meditation, prayer, journaling, find something that works for you. Because when you start dealing with your emotions with healthy outlets, you'll realize that the reward will be much greater. When you deal with your emotions with the food, you feel guilty afterwards, and it leads to a vicious cycle of feeling guilty and dealing with those emotions with the food. Finally, seek professional help. Now, if your situation is not severe, the best thing you can do is get a diet plan and a workout plan. And that is going to help you because it gives you structure. I have a 6 weeks program where I show you what to eat in every meal and the exercises to do, and also share with you strategies on how you can avoid snacking mindlessly and having a good structure that allows you to eat the right foods at the right time. That is the first step that you need to take, whether your situation is minor or severe. Now, if you get this diet plan, this workout plan, but you're still not making the progress that you want to make, you're still overindulging when you're feeling sad or stressed, then you might need to see a counselor or a psychologist and you work with them. So that is it. But first and foremost, you need to realize the emotions yourself before you even see a professional. The emotions that are making you eat junk food, then you see how you can overcome them by yourself. It's a matter of trial and error, but having a plan is key in all of this. So go ahead and start analyzing. Write it down if you have to. And for the next 1 month, try to figure out the emotions and how you deal with them, and try to catch those emotions by being mindful, and try using the healthy outlets. If they're not working, talk to a professional. That is it. I hope the video was helpful. Like it and share it with your friends.